Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Restoring Hope with Crosswinds Counseling. I'm your host, Curtis Smith. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And as always, thanks to our partners, Shepherd Community Center, Tesco, and Prime 47 downtown. Without the support of these caring organizations, we wouldn't be able to be with you every Thursday night at 9:30 on WHMB TV 40. Well, as always, we have a great show for you tonight. And tonight we have two special guests. We have the Mayor of Lawrence, Steve Collier, and the Deputy Mayor of Lawrence, Dave Hofmann. Steve, Dave, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Steve, you are wrapping up year number 7 here
Yes.
as mayor. Your second term ends next year. What's Lawrence been up to over these last 7 years? And maybe more to the point, what's it been like for you to be the mayor through such an incredible period?
Yeah, I'll try to answer as short as I can, but it's been a tremendous, it's my second career. I was a retired teacher and administrator. Politics really weren't on my agenda, so I got recruited into running and then saw that I kind of liked municipal government and then ran for mayor and was elected. Turns out if you've been a teacher and a coach for 33 years, you have high name recognition, which I didn't even know what that meant when I first ran. But I'm real proud of what's happened in the city. I've got a great team, and I say this so much that Dave gets tired of hearing me saying that, but I really do have seen a lot of success and a lot of forward movement on the city due to the fact that I've made some great hires. I'll take credit for hiring good people. I will take credit for that. But we've seen an awful lot of growth. A figure I'm throwing out right now, most recently, is in the last 4 years, we've seen $400 million of investment into the city of Lawrence alone.
Wow.
So our growth, both population-wise and as a city-wise, it's pretty impressive.
One of the fastest growing cities, certainly in Indiana, maybe in the Midwest. I feel like I read recently in a larger scale area than just Indiana. You guys are growing at quite a rate.
Percentage-wise, we're growing at a pretty fast clip. As a matter of fact, so fast that we've had to kind of retreat a little bit on our things you don't want to talk about, sewer capacity and water, that we're expanding quite a bit because we've got to get those services out to people. So we've slowed down a little bit, but we just got some good grant money coming in, so we're going to be tearing up streets and putting in more water and sewer and so on, just to allow for our growth. So we can't, we having trouble keeping up, but now I think we're at the point now we can keep growing. We're a little bit landlocked. I mean, we're in Marion County, northeast side of Marion County, right. So we can only spread so much, but we are seeing a lot of growth, and we're creating truly a downtown for the first time in Lawrence. That's
awesome. And as you mentioned, you're in northeast Marion County, and you have this interesting designation of being an excluded city. I know there's a lot to it. Kind of give us the nutshell, surface level meaning of what that is.
I'll give you the real quick start. In 1968, Richard Lugar was then the mayor. He created Marion County, basically incorporated into one Marion County, one city. There were 3 excluded cities: Beech Grove, Lawrence, and Southport. Speedway, 4 excluded cities: Speedway, Beech Grove, Southport, and Lawrence. What that meant for us was that we retained our independence as a city, the city of Lawrence. We used to have our own police department, our own fire department, and our own, we should clean our own streets, everything that a normal city would do. What's unique about Lawrence is that where Speedway and Beech Grove, the 2 next biggest cities, they're only about 9,000 or 10,000 people. Lawrence was about 11,000 when we created that excluded city status. We're 50,000, so we've grown dramatically. Yeah. So we truly are our own separate city now, and we're moving toward more and more of being an independent city as opposed to an excluded city. So we've worked pretty hard at our identity and people, and we're having, to my great excitement, people are beginning to recognize the city of Lawrence as being something different than just a suburb of Indianapolis.
Yeah. Dave, let me ask you, because getting away from that might cause some people to think, oh, Lawrence is changing, or the identity is going to change, but it sounds like keeping your independence, moving forward, there's nothing negative about getting rid of the excluded city tag.
No,
right?
Certainly not. I mean, we're, although surrounded kind of on 2 sides by Indianapolis and obviously that identity, but when you drive into Lawrence, you see the Welcome to Lawrence signs. You see the iconic Lawrence streetlights. You see the Blue Star banners where we honor our actively serving military members that live in Lawrence. You have destination places in Lawrence such as the Fort and the one of the arguably the best state parks in Indiana, Fort Benjamin Harrison State Park. That's in Lawrence. That's right there. So there's a lot of unique elements to Lawrence, a lot of historic things pertaining to our military and the decommissioning of that base. We currently have headquarters of the Indiana National Guard Reserve, the Marine Corps Reserve. We have all of their facilities there on the fort. We have a commissary. So you still have those links to the past, but certainly we have our eyes on the future. We have a lot of development, economic development and growth going on. A lot of businesses, developers, they've got their eye on Lawrence, and almost a day, I'd definitely say definitely not a week goes by, but almost not a day goes by that we're not fielding phone calls from people, businesses and residents interested in coming to Lawrence, and we're really proud about that. We have top-notch public safety. Our police and fire are second to none, in my opinion. We have the excellent response times, and our police department especially, they are viewed very favorably. And in this time of social unrest and law enforcement reckoning, that's something that we're really proud of, is that our officers are very much a part of our community.
So Steve, growing in the right way, and Dave just did a lot of the bragging on your leadership, really, on what's happened under these last 7 years. So when you think about that, when you think about what's happened here in your almost 2 full terms as mayor, when you reflect back, what does that mean to you to think about all those changes, all that improvement in Lawrence?
That's a great question, and I've thought about that because I'm getting close to the end, I suppose.
Right.
What will my legacy be? You know, and I hate to use that term because I'm not dead yet, by the way. But I think that if anything, I can say that I'm very proud of the ability, of my staff's ability to move the city definitely forward, to create our own identity, to create a place where people want to come and live, work, and play. We can truly say that and not just be using words and using adjectives and so on. So that part of it, I'll be able to look back and kind of witness what we've been able to accomplish in there, because it's going to be, you know, long after I'm gone, we'll still be seeing some of those things that are positive things happening in the city of Lawrence.
That's awesome. Well, Steve and Dave have agreed to stay with us for a second segment, so we're going to take a quick break and continue the conversation. We're going to talk about something near and dear to their hearts and something we obviously talk about every week, and that's mental health. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Restoring Hope. I'm Curtis Smith. We're here with Steve Collier, the mayor of Lawrence, and Dave Hofmann, the deputy mayor of Lawrence. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us and spending another segment with us. Steve and Dave, but Steve, let me start with you. I know you're going to pivot to Dave here mostly. Let's talk about the importance of mental health. You, in your term as mayor, in your 2 terms now, you've seen the importance probably on several different levels. How do you put that into words, the importance of dealing with mental health issues in our day and age?
I think the first thing I would tell you is that we need to be aware, you know, of what's happening within our community and where areas where we might be able to be seeing some things that may need some help. Probably the toughest part as a city that we began to see during the pandemic. And I got to tell you that even for me, it was tough to get through a period of time where we weren't having very much interaction with people. And I think a big part of mental health, not only for individuals, but also for cities and people who are working there, is to maintain those connections, friendships, human interaction, sharing information. All those are an incredibly important part of maintaining good mental health. One thing that I did just within my own staff was that we had people who had to come to work, didn't have an option. And so I'd have each week, at least 3 or 4 times a week, we'd gather in my office and we'd order lunch out and bring it in. We were, on the one hand, we were kind of supporting some of our local restaurants, but we were also getting together and sharing what was happening in the city. Yeah. And those little things like that kept us together, I think. On a greater scale, I would say that in the city, although we don't have any specific programs coming out of the city of Lawrence to maintain mental health, we do have, both our fire and our police departments are very aware of what could be out there. They're well trained on how to deal with those situations. And so in that respect, I think we're kind of the tip of the spear to be able to handle those kinds of situations.
Yeah. And Dave, I know mental health is something that's near and dear to your heart and something that you've worked on to improve in the past. From your perspective, Where are you as a city, the city of Lawrence, and where do we need to head maybe as a society? I know that's a big question.
Sure.
In dealing with mental health.
Right. Well, number one, destigmatizing the idea of getting help, getting professional help, counseling, whatever it may be. That is something that we should never, see as a personal failure in someone's life. We all have issues. Every single person and family has issues that you deal with. And at least in policing, after 27 years of my law enforcement career, I've seen a big shift in how police officers deal with those experiencing mental health crises. It used to be kind of a not my job approach with law enforcement. Officers were there, they were sent to handle an incident, they would handle it, whatever the outcome may be, on to the next run. Right? And now our officers are trained in crisis intervention. They're trained in referring family members. Say, for example, they respond to an incident in someone's home or at a business where there's clearly a mental health crisis involved. Well, the officers are now trained on talking to the family members to ensure that follow-up care is provided. And one thing that we did in Lawrence, I'm very proud of, for the first time in our city's history, we were able to hire a behavioral health specialist who is on staff full-time. It's a civilian person. However, it's not a sworn law enforcement officer in a uniform, but it is a person who does administrative tasks like following up with individuals and families following an incident. So for example, if our officers respond to a parking lot at 3 o'clock in the morning and they find somebody in a car who has overdosed, right? So first of all, the officers can administer Narcan, the medical professionals will come in, they'll get that person to a hospital, right? Well, that's not where it ends anymore.
Right.
Our behavioral health specialist will reach out to that family, find out how they're doing, what they need, anything that the city or the police department can do to help facilitate the ongoing care. And we have seen a reduction in the repeat runs. For example, calls for service to the same address. We've seen a reduction in that as a result. So mental health is very much on our radar as part of our job.
Real quick, we just have a minute or so left. We're coming to the end of 22. Next year, as we come to the end of 23, big years for both of you. Dave, you're going to be running for mayor.
I am.
And that is because, Steve, you are not going to be running for mayor. You're deciding to retire at the end of your second term next year. As you come to that time of your life, what strikes you about nearing retirement? I know it's a full year away.
My wife has been very patient with me. She put up with me as a head football coach and as athletic director, and then now as a mayor. And so we're ready to travel.
Nice.
Honestly, I'm going to take a month and do nothing for a month, and nobody's going to tell me what to do for a month. And so on. My wife's willing to accept that. But I'm looking forward to. I've been in the public eye, public service for all of my life, really.
Yeah.
And so moving away from that, if only briefly, I'm looking forward to that. But I'm not going away. I don't think a public servant can ever really truly retire.
Right.
So I'm going to be around, and I'm going to be right there with Dave, and if he has a question and I can answer for him, I'm going to be right there for him. So that's my plan.
That's awesome. Well, Steve, all the best in retirement. I know it's not tomorrow, but all the best as you wind down your career in Lawrence. And Dave, we certainly wish you the best in next year's election in November. And,
thank you so much.
Thanks for both of you being here. Really appreciate it. And we wish Lawrence all the best as well. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Curtis.
Appreciate it.
Yep. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Each week here on Restoring Hope, we take a couple of minutes out of our show to focus on the word hope. It's our Beacon of Hope segment. And tonight, Crosswinds executive Abe Hepler is back with us to remind us that while the holiday season can be full of stress, hope is still at the heart of Christmas.
Hi, my name's Abe. I'm one of the executives with Crosswinds. As we celebrate this incredible holiday, we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. It's what Christmas is all about. And in the book of Matthew, we find a passage of scripture that I want to share with you today. Matthew actually quotes Isaiah from the Old Testament. Isaiah prophesied about who Jesus was going to be when he came to the world. And Matthew describes Jesus by quoting Isaiah, and he says this: "The people living in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned." And this light coming into the world is what we celebrate at Christmas. The birth of Jesus Christ was literally the birthplace of hope for the world. It's an incredible thing for us to celebrate every year. But one of the things that is interesting for me is that these holiday seasons can often not feel hopeful. In fact, we find lots of stress and pressure come at the holidays. We have relational stress, financial pressure, things that weigh us down and make us ultimately forget what we're celebrating in the first place. But today, I wanted to take just a moment and remind all of us of the hope that is at the heart of Christmas. A light has come into the world, and when we feel the stress and pressure, the darkness pushing in, it is my hope that you stop and remember that this season is about the light that has come into our world. And so I hope that that's not just true tomorrow or on Christmas Day, but that as you face darkness and trouble and stress and pressure every day in your world, that this truth can be a blessing. That Jesus came as the light of the world to offer us truth and hope and goodness in times that feel the darkest. And my prayer is that this isn't just true this season, but it's true for you tomorrow, the next day, and in all the days to come. Merry Christmas from all of us at Crosswinds.
Welcome back to Restoring Hope with Crosswinds Counseling. Tonight in our Counseling Corner segment, Kelsey Howard is here to talk about how to prepare for and handle the holiday season with your kids out of school.
My name is Kelsey Howard, and I am a therapist with Crosswinds Counseling. The holidays are coming up, and I know that it can be a lot of excitement and fun for families with their children. But it can also bring on a lot of stress. So today I'm going to talk with you about some tips and pointers to help alleviate some stress so that you can enjoy the holidays with your family. Before going into break, it's important that you set and discuss expectations of what you guys will be doing together. What are the plans for the holidays? This helps better prepare them and you to decrease any behaviors, but also just something that you can do together to incorporate planning and make it more enjoyable for them as well. With that, it's important to keep a routine. That structure is very important for kids, and it will help them to be successful for when they go back into schools. So make sure that bedtimes stay consistent. If you do have a kid with high behaviors that throw fits or tantrums, it's important that you show them how they should be acting and try to stay as calm as possible. Try not to feed into their behaviors by reacting at the same level or higher. And when they are doing something really good, give them a lot of praise and attention for that. This will help them to focus more on those desired behaviors. When tensions are high, it's important that everyone has a space for them to go and decompress. So allowing kids time to go in their room, to color, draw, as well as yourself is very important. And with that, also trying to decrease screen time. Lastly, if you have a child who maybe has some high-risk behaviors, make sure that you get in contact with their mental health care provider before going into break to create a safety plan for them. This will be helpful just to keep the conversation open, continue to have check-ins with them about how they're feeling, and watch for signs of them isolating themselves or maybe not doing activities that they enjoy as much. If it turns into a crisis situation, please call 911, or you can call the National Suicide Hotline at 988. And if you would like to talk with a counselor about planning for your child's upcoming holiday break, you can visit us at crosswindscounseling.org. Happy holidays!
Thank you, Kelsey. Great reminders here in the midst of what is certainly a chaotic holiday season at times. Well, tonight, as our time quickly comes to a close, maybe you've learned something tonight about Crosswinds Counseling that's motivated you to be a part of this organization. Good news, Crosswinds Counseling is hiring. We need great men and women to join the organization and help us provide mental health to so many people in need. More people need it now than ever before. If you're interested in pursuing a career with Crosswinds, please visit crosswindscounseling.org/careers. We have opportunities in Indy, Fort Wayne, South Bend very soon, and now Dayton, Ohio. And again, you can go to crosswindscounseling.org/careers to see all of those opportunities. Maybe you're not looking for a shift in your career. Maybe you would like to learn more about our corporate counseling program to help your employees. Well, you can connect with us at crosswindscounseling.org there as well. As we wrap up tonight, thanks to all of you for joining us, and thanks to our partners for being with us each and every week. Prime 47 Downtown, Shepherd Community Center, and Tesco, and of course to our friends here at WHMB TV 40. We'll see you next Thursday night at 9:30. Stay safe and be blessed.